Beneath your feet, something is waiting. It has been waiting longer than you've been alive, longer than your grandparents lived. Some have waited over 1,000 years, buried in darkness. And when the moment finally comes, they wake up and grow as if no time passed at all. Seeds are masters of patience. They don't rush. If this brings you calm, if you enjoy these quiet journeys into science, please like and subscribe so you don't miss more soothing stories tomorrow. And leave a comment telling us where you're watching from and what time it is there. It's beautiful knowing we're all sharing this moment together across the world. A seed knows something we often forget. Timing matters more than speed. Some seeds can remain dormant for decades, even centuries, waiting for the perfect moment. The oldest seed ever germinated was a Judean date palm seed, over 2,000 years old. It sat in an ancient fortress, outlasting empires, wars, entire generations of humans. Then someone planted it, and it grew. This ability to pause life itself, to hit a biological stop button and just wait, is something almost magical. Seeds don't decay like fruit. They don't rot like flowers. They simply exist in a state between life and death, holding potential in perfect suspension. Think about what that means. A seed can outlive the tree that made it. It can outlive the forest around it. It can wait through ice ages and droughts and floods, just sitting there, ready. Inside that tiny package, everything is prepared. The instructions for roots, the blueprint for leaves, the chemistry needed to turn sunlight into sugar. All of it packed away, preserved, waiting for one thing: the right moment. Seeds don't grow just because they can. They grow when conditions say it's safe, when temperature feels right, when moisture levels hit a certain point, when light filters down through soil in just the right way. This patience isn't conscious. A seed doesn't think or plan, but millions of years of evolution built something remarkable into these small travelers. They learned to wait. The seeds that sprouted too early, during false springs or unexpected warm spells, died when frost returned. Their genes disappeared. The seeds that waited, that somehow sensed the difference between a warm day and true spring, survived. They made more seeds, and those seeds inherited the patience. So now we have seeds that can measure time itself, not with clocks or calendars, but with chemistry. They count cold days, track moisture patterns, feel the length of nights growing shorter. And when all the signals align, when everything says the time is right, something inside the seed activates. Enzymes wake up. Water flows in. Cells that have been frozen in time suddenly remember how to divide. The waiting ends. Growth begins. But until that moment comes, the seed simply exists. Patient as stone, ready as breath, holding tomorrow in its quiet heart. Every seed wears armor, not the kind you see in museums, but something better, something tested by millions of years of survival. A coconut shell is so tough it can survive a fall from 80 feet. It can float across entire oceans for months, protecting the life inside from salt water that would kill most plants in hours. The shell doesn't crack. The seed inside stays dry, safe Ready? Some seeds need fire to open. The giant sequoia makes cones that stay sealed for decades. They hang in trees, waiting. Then a forest fire sweeps through. Flames consume everything. The heat is so intense it would melt plastic. But those cones feel the temperature rise, and something triggers inside them. They open. Seeds fall onto ground that's covered in ash, now cleared of competing plants, rich with nutrients from burned material. Within weeks, baby sequoias sprout where fire just destroyed everything. The seed knew. Its armor was built to wait for destruction. Acacia seeds in Australia have shells harder than wood. You can't crack them with your teeth. You can't break them by stepping on them. They sit in soil for years, completely unaffected by rain, by cold, by heat. Nothing happens. Then fire comes. The temperature spikes to hundreds of degrees. The shell doesn't burn. Instead, it cracks. Just enough. Water can finally get in. The seed germinates within days. Fire doesn't kill these seeds. Fire wakes them up. This kind of protection seems extreme. Until you understand what seeds face. They have to survive being eaten. Squirrels collect thousands of acorns. Birds swallow berries whole. The seed's job is to pass through the animal's digestive system without being destroyed. Some seeds have coatings so hard that stomach acid can't break them down. The animal eats the fruit, gets the nutrition, and poops out the seed somewhere far away. The seed gets free transportation and a pile of fertilizer to grow in. Everyone wins. Other seeds protect themselves with poison. Apple seeds contain cyanide compounds. Not enough to hurt you from eating one apple, but the seed is basically saying, "Don't chew me." Castor beans hold ricin, one of the deadliest toxins on Earth. A few beans could kill a person. The plant doesn't want to murder anyone. It just wants animals to leave its seeds alone. The poison is insurance. Protection written in chemistry. Lotus seeds have shells so impermeable that water can't get through for hundreds of years. That's why they can wait for centuries and still sprout. The armor keeps them in suspended animation. No water means no growth. No growth means no aging. The seed just exists, frozen in time until something cracks that shell. Then life rushes in all at once. Each type of armor tells a story about where the seed evolved. Desert seeds have waxy coatings that prevent water loss. Seeds from wet forests can handle being underwater for weeks. Arctic seeds survive being frozen solid. The protection matches the challenge. And every challenge has shaped the armor into something perfectly suited for survival. Seeds don't think about this. They don't plan. But the ones that built better armor lived. The ones that didn't disappeared. What remains are champions. Tiny fortresses carrying life through impossible conditions, waiting for the moment when armor can finally come off and growth can begin. Protected by armor, seeds still face one problem. They can't walk, can't run, can't crawl away from the parent plant. Drop straight down and you're competing with your own mother for sunlight, water, nutrients. So, seeds evolved to travel, and they got creative about it. Dandelion seeds ride the wind on tiny parachutes. Each white fluff is a masterpiece of engineering. The threads spread out in a perfect circle, catching air currents with more efficiency than any parachute humans have designed. A single breath can send them flying. They can travel miles on a good wind. Thousands of seeds from one plant, scattered across entire neighborhoods, each one seeking new ground. Maple seeds spin. They have one wing attached at an angle, and when they fall, they helicopter through the air. This spinning slows their descent and catches horizontal winds. A maple seed dropped from a tall tree can land hundreds of feet away. The design is so good that engineers have copied it for small drones and flying robots. Nature figured out helicopter physics millions of years before we did. Some seeds explode. The sandbox tree builds pressure inside its seed pods. When the pod is ready, it detonates. The explosion is loud enough to hear from across a yard. Seeds shoot out at 150 miles per hour, traveling over 300 feet. The plant is basically using a biological cannon to launch its children. No wind needed, no animals required, just explosive force and physics. Burdock seeds use hooks, tiny curved spines that grab onto anything that brushes past. Fur, fabric, hair, feathers. The seed hitches a ride on whatever passes by. It doesn't care if it's a deer or a dog or your pants. It just holds on until it falls off somewhere new. This design inspired Velcro. A man noticed burdock stuck to his dog after a walk and looked at it under a microscope. He saw the hooks and realized he could copy the design. Now Velcro is everywhere, all because a seed needed to travel. Coconuts float. Their thick, fibrous shell traps air. A coconut can spend months drifting across oceans, riding currents from island to island. Salt water can't get to the seed inside. Waves can't crack the shell. The coconut just floats, patient as any other seed, until it washes up on a beach. Then it sprouts. This is how coconut palms spread across the Pacific. Not by walking, by floating. Island to island, current to current, taking their time. Some seeds use animals without asking. Berries and fruits exist because seeds figured out they could wrap themselves in something delicious. Birds eat the berry. The seed inside has a shell too hard to digest. Hours later, the bird lands somewhere miles away and poops out the seed. Free transportation, free fertilizer. The bird gets calories. The seed gets distance. Both win. Every method works because it had to. Seeds that couldn't travel stayed clustered under parent plants. They competed with each other. Most died. The ones that found ways to move, to spread, to reach new soil, survived. They made more seeds, and those seeds inherited the ability to travel. So now we have seeds that fly, float, explode, stick, and hitchhike. All without muscles, all without thought. Just clever design and millions of years of trial and error, creating travelers that don't need legs to go anywhere they want. Seeds that travel need to know when to stop traveling, when to start growing. This requires information, temperature, moisture, light. Seeds can sense all of it, without eyes, without a brain, without anything we'd recognize as a sensor. A lettuce seed won't sprout in complete darkness. It needs light, not much, just a flash. A few seconds of exposure tells the seed there's open sky above, that it's not buried too deep that if it starts growing, it can reach the surface before running out of energy. Bury a lettuce seed too deep, and it just waits. It doesn't waste itself trying to push through 6 inches of soil. It somehow knows that's too far. Other seeds count cold days. They track winter. Apple seeds need a certain number of days below a specific temperature before they'll germinate. This prevents them from sprouting during a false spring. If warm weather comes in February, but frost returns in March, any seed that sprouted dies. So, apple seeds evolved to count, to measure, to make sure winter is truly over before committing to growth. They don't have calendars. They have chemistry, molecules that change with sustained cold. When enough molecules have changed, the seed knows it's safe. Some seeds can smell, not with a nose, but with chemical receptors. When wood burns, it releases specific molecules. These molecules wash into soil with the first rain after a fire. Certain seeds detect these chemicals. Fire means the area is cleared. Nutrients from ash are available. Competition is gone. The seed registers the signal and germinates. Without smoke chemicals, these seeds can wait decades. They're waiting for the smell of opportunity. Temperature matters differently to different seeds. Desert seeds need heat. They won't sprout until soil temperature hits a certain point. This ensures they don't germinate after a small rain that won't sustain them. They need proof of real moisture and real heat, the combination that signals monsoon season. Arctic seeds need cold. They won't wake up in warmth because warmth means it's still winter. They need temperatures that say summer has arrived, that they have a few short months to grow and make new seeds before freeze comes again. Water is the universal trigger. Most seeds need moisture to start, but they're picky about how much. Too little, and they don't bother. Too much, and they know there are. Underwater, which means they can't breathe properly. Seeds can measure water concentration in soil through their shells. They're reading the environment through microscopic pores, sensing chemistry, making decisions that look intelligent, but are really just elegant molecular machines, doing what millions of years programmed them to do. Seeds also sense gravity. Always. A root always grows down. A shoot always grows up. Even in complete darkness, even sideways or upside down, the seed knows which way is which. Tiny crystals inside cells settle with gravity. The seed feels where they settle and uses that information to orient growth. Turn a sprouting seed upside down, and within hours the root curves back toward earth. The shoot bends towards sky. No eyes needed, no brain required. This intelligence isn't consciousness. Seeds don't think, but they process information more reliably than many computers. They measure multiple variables simultaneously. They integrate that data. They make decisions that maximize survival. All packed into something smaller than your fingernail. All running on chemistry alone. Perfect information processing without a single neuron involved. All that intelligence packed into something so small creates possibilities that seem impossible. A giant sequoia seed weighs almost nothing. You could hold 1,000 in your palm and barely feel them. Each one is smaller than a grain of rice. But inside is the complete blueprint for a tree that can grow 300 feet tall and live for 3,000 years. Think about what that means. Everything that tree will ever be already exists in coded form inside that tiny seed. The pattern of its branches, the thickness of its bark, the chemistry that makes it resistant to fire and insects, the timing of its growth through seasons, all stored in molecules so small you need a microscope to see them. A seed is a library compressed to dust, instructions for building something massive from almost nothing. When a sequoia seed sprouts, it doesn't have much to work with. A tiny bit of stored energy, enough to push a root down and a shoot up. That's it. After that, the baby tree is on its own. It has to make food from sunlight, pull water from soil, grab carbon from air. The seed gave it the tools and the instructions. Now the tree has to build itself, and it does. Year after year. Starting from something you could lose between couch cushions, the tree adds rings of wood, each year slightly wider, each decade stronger. The tree that will eventually weigh thousands of tons began as something lighter than a snowflake. The difference between seed and mature tree is just time and materials, air, water, sunlight. Basic elements assembled according to instructions written in that original tiny package. Other seeds perform similar miracles. An oak acorn is bigger than a sequoia seed, but not by much. Still small enough to fit in your pocket. Yet oak trees can live 800 years and spread branches across areas larger than houses. A coconut is hefty compared to most seeds, but it still seems absurd that something the size of a soccer ball contains everything needed to grow a palm tree 80 feet tall. The information density is staggering. Human DNA contains about 3 billion base pairs. That's a lot of information, but plants often have more. Some plant genomes are larger than ours. All of it folded and packed into seeds so small they blow away in wind. Nature achieved data compression that makes our best computer algorithms look wasteful. And this information doesn't just sit there, it activates in sequence. First, make a root, then make a shoot, then make leaves, later make flowers, eventually make seeds. The timing is crucial. A seed that tried to make flowers before leaves would fail. A tree that made seeds before growing strong would collapse. Everything happens in order because the instructions specify when each step should occur. The seed doesn't supervise this process. It doesn't manage or oversee. Once germination starts, the seed essentially dissolves. It gives everything it has to the new plant. The shell breaks. The stored food gets consumed. The embryo becomes roots and shoots and leaves. The seed stops being a seed and becomes a plant. All those instructions start executing themselves, automatically, perfectly, turning air and water and sunlight into wood and leaves, and eventually new seeds. From nearly nothing, everything. The seed contains not just information, but potential energy, chemical triggers, and a timeline. It's a biological machine designed to build something vastly larger than itself. And it works. Every forest on Earth started as seeds. Every fruit you eat came from trees that grew from seeds. Giants from dust. Forests from packages you could hold in your hand. Impossible made routine through chemistry so elegant, we're still trying to fully understand it. Those giants growing from dust did something else. Something that changed everything. They fed us. And when we learned to save their seeds and plant them deliberately, human history pivoted. Civilization exists because of seeds. Not because of tools or fire or language. Because of 3 plants: wheat, rice, and corn. Before agriculture, humans wandered. Small groups following animal herds and seasonal plants. We were nomads, hunter-gatherers moving constantly, never staying anywhere long enough to build permanent homes or accumulate possessions. Population stayed small, culture stayed simple. Then someone, somewhere, about 10,000 years ago, figured something out. Instead of just eating all the grain, save some. Plant it. Wait. Harvest more than you planted. That simple idea changed our species. Once you could grow food reliably, you could stay in one place. Build permanent shelters. Store surplus grain for winter. Suddenly, not everyone needed to find food. Some people could specialize. Make pottery. Weave cloth. Study stars. Invent writing to track harvests. Mathematics emerged from counting grain stores. Calendars developed to predict planting seasons. Seeds didn't just feed us. They freed us to become everything else we are. Cities appeared. Markets formed. Trade networks spread. All dependent on grain stores. Rome rose on wheat. China built dynasties on rice. Mesoamerica flourished with corn. Every major civilization organized itself around seed agriculture. The surplus food from saved seeds allowed populations to explode. Armies could march because stored grain traveled with them. Empires expanded because agriculture provided the calories needed to sustain conquest. 3 seeds. That's what most of humanity eats. Wheat, rice, corn. Add soybeans and potatoes, and you've accounted for most calories consumed globally. Billions of people depend on these plants. Every meal you eat likely contains something grown from seeds humans deliberately planted. Your morning bread started as wheat seeds. Your rice bowl grew from rice seeds someone saved and planted. Even meat animals eat grain grown from seeds. We shaped those seeds too. Early wheat was different from modern wheat. Smaller kernels, less yield. Over thousands of years, farmers saved seeds from the best plants. The ones with bigger grains. The ones that didn't drop seeds before harvest. The ones resistant to local diseases. Generation after generation, we selected for traits we wanted. We didn't understand genetics, but we understood results. Plant good seeds, get good plants. Save those seeds, repeat. Over millennia, this created crops that barely resemble their wild ancestors. Modern corn looks nothing like its original form. Wild corn had tiny ears with hard kernels. Through thousands of years of selection, we transformed it into the large, soft, kerneled crop we know today. Wheat evolved from wild grasses into high-yield varieties that feed billions. Rice became dozens of varieties suited to different climates and cooking styles. We partnered with seeds. We needed them. They needed us. Together, we changed the world. Every book ever written exists because seed agriculture freed someone's time to write. Every painting, every symphony, every scientific discovery happened because someone didn't have to spend all day searching for food. Artists, philosophers, engineers, all made possible by surplus calories from saved seeds. Civilization isn't built on ideas alone. It's built on the foundation of stored grain, on fields of wheat and rice and corn, on the simple act of planting seeds and harvesting more than you started with. Seeds gave us stability. Stability gave us culture. Culture gave us everything we've become, all from learning to save tiny packages and put them in soil, while we store seeds in barns and silos. Nature has its own storage system. Beneath your feet right now, in soil everywhere, seeds are sleeping. Millions of them. Scientists call this a seed bank, not the kind humans build, but natural ones that exist in every forest, every field, every patch of undisturbed ground. Walk through a forest, and you're walking over potential. Seeds buried at different depths, from different years, waiting for different conditions. Some dropped last autumn, others have been there for decades. A forest fire sweeps through, clearing everything. Trees burn, underbrush disappears. The ground looks dead, but it's not. Within weeks, plants appear that nobody has seen in that forest for 50 years. Their seeds were waiting underground the whole time. This happens because seeds are patient and conditions change. A tree falls, and suddenly sunlight hits ground that's been shaded for decades. Seeds buried there feel the light. They germinate. Plants appear that couldn't survive in shade. They grow, flower, make new seeds. Then the canopy closes again as new trees fill the gap. Those shade-intolerant plants die, but their seeds go into the soil bank, waiting for the next tree to fall. Some seeds can wait over a century. Studies have found viable seeds in soil layers dated to the 1800s. They sat through world wars, technological revolutions, climate changes, just waiting. The soil protected them. Darkness preserved them. And when researchers tested them, some still sprouted. After 100 years underground, they remembered how to grow. This underground reservoir means forests can recover from disasters. A hurricane flattens trees. A wildfire consumes everything. A flood scours the land. But as long as seeds survive in soil, life can return. Those seeds hold the memory of what the forest was. They carry genetics from plants that thrived there before. When conditions reset, when disaster clears the slate, the seed bank restarts the forest. Different seeds have different strategies for how long they stay viable. Some lose viability within months. They're designed for quick succession, not long-term storage. Others maintain viability for decades. They're betting on rare events, catastrophic disturbances that only happen once or twice per century. Both strategies work because nature has room for all of them. The depth matters too. Seeds buried deep stay dormant longer. They're protected from temperature swings, from animals, from early germination signals. Seeds near the surface respond faster, but risk more. A passing deer might eat them. A bird might scratch them up. Early warmth might trick them into sprouting before it's safe. Deeper seeds wait longer, but bet safer. Humans discovered this seed bank effect by accident. Old fields left fallow would suddenly sprout plants that hadn't been seen there in generations. Ploughing brought deep seeds to the surface. Light hit them, moisture reached them, and plants from previous decades appeared like ghosts. Farmers didn't understand it at first. Now we know. The soil remembers. Every plant that ever grew there likely left seeds behind. Some of those seeds are still viable, still waiting, still holding the potential to return if conditions align. This natural storage system, insurance against extinction. As long as seeds survive somewhere in soil, that species can come back. It's biological backup written in patience. Forests carry their own history underground, distributed across millions of seeds, each one holding a possible future, waiting in darkness for the moment when their particular combination of conditions finally arrives. Not all seeds wait in soil banks. Some are too small to sink. Orchid seeds are the smallest in the plant world. So tiny you need a microscope to see one clearly. They're basically dust with ambition. A single orchid seed pod can contain over 1 million seeds, all of them lighter than air. When an orchid pod opens, the seeds don't fall. They float. They ride the smallest air currents like smoke. A gentle breeze can carry them for miles. They have no weight to pull them down, no stored food to anchor them, just a microscopic embryo and the thinnest shell imaginable. This makes them terrible at traditional germination. Most seeds carry food for the baby plant. Orchid seeds don't. They can't. There's no room. So orchids evolved a different strategy. Their seeds need a partner, a specific type of fungus that lives in soil or on tree bark. The seed lands somewhere, anywhere. If it happens to be near the right fungus, the fungus invades the seed. This sounds like disease, but it's cooperation. The fungus provides nutrients the seed needs. The seed eventually grows into a plant that the fungus benefits from. Both need each other. Without the fungus, the orchid seed can't grow. Without the orchid, certain fungi lose a partner. This makes orchid reproduction a numbers game. Most seeds will never find the right fungus. They'll land in wrong places. Dry concrete, open ocean, tree bark without the fungus partner. They'll die without ever sprouting. But that's okay. The plant makes millions of seeds. Odds are terrible for each individual seed. Odds are good that some will succeed. This strategy lets orchids spread everywhere. They've conquered habitats from rainforests to tundra, from sea level to mountain peaks. Orchids grow on every continent except Antarctica, all with seeds so light they barely exist. The plant sacrifices individual seed quality for massive quantity. Each seed gets almost no resources, but there are so many that some always find the right conditions. Compare this to a coconut. One seed, huge, heavy, packed with food and water. The coconut bets everything on that single seed surviving. The orchid bets nothing on any individual seed, and everything on overwhelming odds. Both strategies work. Coconuts spread across oceans. Orchids spread across continents. Different approaches to the same problem of reproduction. The lightness of orchid seeds also means they can colonize new territories fast. A volcanic island appears in the ocean. Bare rock, no soil. Within years, orchid seeds arrive on the wind. Most die, but eventually, one lands near the right fungus. It grows, makes more seeds, Those seeds spread across the island. Within decades, orchids that started as wind-blown dust cover areas that coconuts haven't reached yet. Humans have learned to germinate orchid seeds without fungus. We feed them artificial nutrients in sterile conditions. This lets us grow orchids commercially, but in nature, orchids still depend on their fungal partners. The relationship is so specific that some orchids only work with one fungus species. If that fungus disappears, the orchid can't reproduce. It can make millions of seeds, but without the partner, none will grow. This fragility, hidden in abundance, is orchid survival. Make so many seeds that losing 99.9% doesn't matter. Spread so widely that disasters in one area don't end the species. Float on air until you find exactly the right spot with exactly the right partner. It's inefficient for each seed, but it's incredibly effective for the species. Orchids turned weakness into strength by embracing quantity over quality. Orchids aren't the only seeds that need partners. Throughout nature, seeds have formed agreements with other species, contracts written in evolution, some so specific that neither partner can survive without the other. Acorns need squirrels. Oak trees can't walk. Their seeds are heavy and fall straight down. Left alone, acorns would just pile under the parent tree, competing with each other and with the oak that made them. Most would die, but squirrels gather acorns. They bury them in scattered locations across their territory. The squirrel is planning for winter, storing food, but squirrels forget. They bury thousands of acorns and only recover about 70% of them. The rest, they sprout. Oak trees appear in places far from any parent tree, all because a squirrel forgot where it hid lunch. Both species benefit. Squirrels get food, oaks get transportation and planting service. The acorn even seems designed for this relationship. Its shell is hard enough that squirrels can't eat it immediately. They have to bury it and let it soften. This delay gives the acorn time to be forgotten and grow. The partnership is so old that oak forests depend on it. Without squirrels, oaks would struggle to spread. Figs have an even stranger partnership. Every fig species has its own wasp species. The wasp pollinates the fig. Without the wasp, the fig can't make seeds. The wasp lays eggs inside the fig. Baby wasps eat some developing seeds. Without the fig, the wasp has nowhere to reproduce. Neither can exist without the other. They've been locked together so long that their life cycles match perfectly. When figs ripen, wasps emerge. When wasps need to lay eggs, figs are ready. Some seeds hire ants. Certain plants make seeds with attached food packages called eliosomes. These are rich in fats and proteins. Ants love them. They pick up the seed and carry it back to their nest. Underground, they eat the elaiosome and discard the seed in their waste chamber. The seed now sits in a nutrient-rich environment, protected from fire and animals, perfectly positioned to grow. The ant gets food. The seed gets transportation, planting, and fertilizer. Both win. Birds and berries have a similar deal. Plants wrap seeds in sweet fruit. Birds eat the fruit. The seed passes through the bird's digestive system unharmed. Hours later, the bird is miles away and deposits the seed in a pile of fertilizer. The plant paid in sugar for delivery service. The bird got calories, and because birds fly, seeds can cross obstacles that would stop any crawling animal. Rivers, mountains, open water. Birds carry seeds to places they could never reach otherwise. These partnerships didn't form overnight. They took millions of years. Early oaks that made acorns slightly more appealing to squirrels spread better. Early squirrels that gathered and buried more acorns survived winters better. Each generation refined the relationship. Oaks evolved acorns squirrels wanted. Squirrels evolved behavior that helped oaks. Neither planned this. Evolution simply rewarded cooperation. The same pattern appears everywhere. Plants and pollinators, seeds and dispersers, fungi and seeds. Each partnership emerged because both sides gained something. And once established, these relationships became essential. The fig can't switch to a different wasp. The wasp can't use a different fig. They're bound together, partners in survival, neither complete without the other. Seeds didn't just evolve to survive alone. They evolved to work with others, forming alliances that made both sides stronger than either could be separately. These partnerships preserve more than relationships. They preserve time itself. Seeds are biological time capsules. They carry information forward through centuries, waiting to reveal what they've been holding. In Egyptian tombs, archaeologists found wheat seeds over 4,000 years old. They were placed beside mummies to feed the dead in the afterlife. The seeds didn't grow when planted. Too much time had passed, but they still held something valuable: DNA, genetic information about ancient wheat varieties. Scientists extracted it and compared it to modern wheat. The ancient seeds showed us what crops looked like before thousands of years of human selection changed them. Even more remarkable are seeds found in permafrost. Siberian permafrost is frozen ground that stays frozen year-round. Things buried there can remain preserved for thousands of years. In 2012, scientists found a cache of seeds buried by an Ice Age squirrel. The squirrel had stored them in its burrow over 30,000 years ago, before humans built pyramids, before we invented writing, before civilization existed in any form we'd recognize. The seeds were from a plant called narrow-leafed campion. Researchers took cells from the seeds and managed to grow them. A plant from the Pleistocene epoch was alive again. It looked slightly different from modern campion. Evolution had changed the modern plants over 30,000 years. But the ancient seed preserved the old version, frozen in time, waiting in darkness under ice. This makes seeds the longest-lived biological material we know. Animals die. Their bodies decay within years or decades at most. Plants die and rot, but seeds can persist. Their shells protect them. Their dormancy prevents decay. As long as they stay dry and cool, they can wait almost indefinitely. The oldest naturally germinated seed came from a Judean date palm. It was found at Masada in Israel. Carbon dating showed it was about 2,000 years old. A researcher planted it, not expecting anything. But it sprouted. The tree grew. They named it Methuselah, after the biblical figure who lived the longest. That tree is alive today, grown from a seed that was ancient when the Roman Empire fell. These time capsule seeds show us what we've lost. Many plant varieties that existed thousands of years ago are extinct now, changed by breeding, replaced by newer varieties. But their seeds, if preserved somewhere, still carry the original genetics. Museums and archaeological sites hold seeds that represent plants we can't see any other way. Windows into the past, genetic libraries from civilizations that vanished. Some seeds in permafrost are even older than 30,000 years. Scientists have found plant material dating back hundreds of thousands of years. Most can't be germinated. Time has damaged them too much, but they still hold fragments of genetic information. Pieces of the puzzle showing how plants evolved, how ice ages changed vegetation, how species adapted to climate shifts that happened before humans existed. Seeds don't just preserve individual plants, they preserve entire genetic lineages, traits that took millions of years to evolve, resistances to diseases that no longer exist, adaptations to climates we've never experienced, all locked in molecular code, waiting. Some seeds will never germinate. They've waited too long, but they still matter. They're historical records, evidence of what was, messages from the past written in the universal language of DNA, sent forward through time in packages small enough to hold in your hand. Seeds preserve themselves through time, but they also need protection right now. Every seed is food. Animals want to eat them, so seeds fight back with chemistry. Apple seeds contain cyanide compounds. Not much. One apple won't hurt you, but crack open the seeds and chew them thoroughly, and you'll taste bitter almonds. That's the cyanide. The seed is warning you. Don't eat me. The amount is small enough that swallowing a few whole seeds does nothing. Your body passes them through undigested. But the seed protected itself. It made you not want to chew it. Castor beans take this further. They contain ricin, one of the deadliest toxins known. A few beans could kill a person. The plant doesn't want to murder anyone. It just wants extreme insurance. Nothing eats castor beans twice. Even animals that try once learn immediately. The toxin is so powerful that merely chewing the beans can be dangerous. The seed wrapped itself in a chemical weapon. This seems extreme until you consider the seed's perspective. It has one job: survive long enough to grow. Every seed that gets eaten is a failure. Every seed that makes an animal sick teaches that animal to avoid that type of seed. Over generations, animals learn which seeds are dangerous. They pass this knowledge to their offspring through observation and taste. The toxic seeds survive because nothing wants to eat them. Other seeds use bitterness instead of poison. They fill themselves with compounds that taste terrible but aren't deadly. Tannins make your mouth dry and pucker. Alkaloids taste intensely bitter. Your body registers these flavors as warnings. Spit it out. Don't swallow. The seed doesn't care about your experience. It cares about not being digested. Some seeds take the opposite approach. They make the seed coat so hard that nothing can chew through it. Peach pits, cherry stones, almond shells. The seed inside is nutritious, but the shell is nearly indestructible. Birds can't crack it. Small mammals can't gnaw through. Only specialized animals with powerful jaws can access the seed. And even then, the shell often survives being crushed partially. The seed escapes. But here's where it gets clever. Some plants want animals to eat the flesh around the seed. Fruits are basically bribes. The plant wraps the toxic or hard seed in something sweet and nutritious. Eat this part. Enjoy it. Just don't chew the seed. Swallow it whole. Carry it somewhere else. Poop it out. The animal gets food. The seed gets transportation. The toxin in the seed ensures the animal learns to swallow it whole rather than chewing. This chemical warfare shaped what we eat. Almonds used to be toxic. Wild almonds contain enough cyanide to be dangerous. But humans found rare trees with a genetic mutation that produced sweet almonds. We saved those seeds, planted them. Now, most almonds are safe. We selectively bred the poison out. The same happened with potatoes, tomatoes, and many other crops. Wild versions are often toxic. Domesticated versions had the worst toxins bred away over thousands of years. Seeds still remember though. Potato plants produce green potatoes when exposed to light. Those green sections contain solanine, a toxin. The plant is trying to protect itself. We bred out most of the defense, but stress brings it back. The chemistry is still there, waiting in the DNA, ready to activate if needed. Seeds don't forget how to fight. We just convince some of them that they don't need to fight us anymore. Some seeds need protection from something else entirely. Not animals, not time, but absence. Desert seeds protect themselves from hope. They wait for rain that might not come for years. Deserts are brutal. Most of the year, nothing grows. The ground bakes under relentless sun. Temperatures swing wildly from day to night. Any plant that tries to grow during dry months dies fast. So, desert seeds evolved to be careful. They don't germinate just because a little moisture shows up. They wait for proof. Real rain. Enough water to actually support growth. Some desert seeds have chemical inhibitors built into their coats. These chemicals prevent germination. Only heavy rain can wash them away. A light sprinkle does nothing. The chemicals remain. The seed stays dormant. But when a real storm comes, when rain falls hard and soaks deep, the chemicals wash out of the seed coat. The seed reads this as a signal. Enough water exists to try growing. Germination begins. Speed matters in the desert. When rain finally comes, seeds have to act fast. Some can germinate within hours. They go from dormant to sprouting faster than seeds in other environments. Because desert plants don't have months to grow, they might have weeks. The window between rain and the return of killing drought is small. Seeds that germinate quickly get a head start. Then comes an even more remarkable trick. These plants grow, flower, and make new seeds at absurd speeds. A desert wildflower can complete its entire life cycle in 3 weeks. From germination to seed production to death, everything happens in fast forward. The plant is racing against the drought it knows is coming. When spring rains hit deserts like the Mojave or Sonoran, something magical happens. Within days, the barren landscape transforms. Carpets of wildflowers appear where there was only dust. Oranges, purples, yellows. Millions of flowers blooming simultaneously. People travel hundreds of miles to see it. Photographers call it a super bloom. But there's no miracle here. just seeds that waited years for this exact moment. Those flowers only last a few weeks. Then they die. The drought returns. The desert looks dead again. But new seeds now sit in that same sand. The generation that bloomed scattered millions of seeds. Those seeds will wait. Maybe next year brings enough rain. Maybe they wait 5 years, 10 years. Some desert seeds remain viable for decades, sitting in sand, holding their chemical inhibitors, refusing to be fooled by insufficient rain. This patience creates seed banks in desert soil that are incredibly dense. Researchers have counted thousands of seeds per square meter in some desert soils, all waiting, all holding potential. The desert looks empty, but it's packed with futures that haven't happened yet. Not all seeds in the bank sprout even when good rain comes. Some stay dormant. This is strategy. If every seed sprouted during one rain, and that year turned out to be unusual, all of them might fail. But if only 30% sprout, the other 70% remain as backup. They wait for the next rain. This bet hedging ensures that at least some seeds survive to the next generation, no matter what happens. Desert seeds turned scarcity into advantage. They evolved to thrive in impossible conditions by becoming more patient than any other seeds. They don't fight the desert. They wait for the brief moments when the desert softens. Then they explode into life, complete their purpose in weeks, and return to waiting. The cycle continues. Seeds in sand, potential in drought, hope deferred but never abandoned. Water is what desert seeds wait for, but water does something bigger. For almost every seed on Earth, water is the key, the universal trigger that unlocks life. A dry seed is essentially paused. Its metabolism runs so slowly it's almost stopped. Chemical reactions that normally take seconds stretch into months or years. The embryo inside exists but doesn't grow. Everything waits. Then water arrives. Everything changes. Water enters through tiny pores in the seed coat. It swells the cells inside. As cells absorb water, they expand. This physical pressure activates enzymes that have been dormant. Those enzymes start converting stored starches into sugars. The sugars provide energy. More water enters. More enzymes activate. A cascade begins. What was static becomes dynamic. What was waiting becomes growing. The first thing to emerge is always a root. Always. It pushes down through the seed coat, following gravity. The root's job is critical. Find more water, anchor the plant. Without a successful root, nothing else matters. The shoot can't emerge. Leaves can't form. The plant dies before it starts. So seeds prioritize roots. Get that established first. Once the root penetrates soil and starts absorbing water, the shoot emerges. It pushes up, away from gravity, toward light. Even in total darkness, the shoot knows which way is up. It uses the same gravity-sensing mechanism the root uses, just inverted. The shoot breaks through soil and hits air. Leaves unfold. Photosynthesis begins. The plant is now independent. It doesn't need the seed anymore. The seed splits apart. What was one thing becomes many cells, all dividing and specializing. The shell that protected everything cracks and falls away. The stored food gets used up. Eventually, nothing remains of the original seed. It gave everything to create the plant. Complete transformation through water. Different seeds need different amounts of water. Bean seeds have hard coats that need prolonged soaking. Just misting them doesn't work. They need to sit in water for hours until the coat softens enough for water to penetrate. Rice seeds germinate while submerged. They're adapted to paddies and wetlands. Flooding doesn't kill them, it wakes them up. Water also signals safety. A seed that germinates during drought dies. So seeds evolved to only respond to enough water. Not just moisture, not just humidity. Actual liquid water in sufficient quantity. This prevents false starts. A heavy dew won't trigger most seeds. They need sustained moisture, rain that soaks deep, flooding that provides ongoing supply. Some seeds are so sensitive to water that they can measure how much is available. They won't germinate in slightly damp soil if that moisture won't sustain them through sprouting. They somehow assess water availability and make a decision. Grow now or wait longer. This isn't thought, it's chemistry, but the result looks like judgment. Once water triggers germination, the process can't reverse. The seed is committed. If water runs out before the plant establishes itself, everything dies. The seed gambled and lost. This makes the water trigger crucial. It has to be reliable. Evolution punished seeds that responded to insufficient water. They sprouted, they died, their genes disappeared. The seeds we have now are descendants of the cautious ones, the ones that waited for clear signals, the ones that demanded proof before committing. Water doesn't just hydrate seeds, it activates them, transforms them, turns potential into actual. Every plant that exists started with water entering a seed and changing everything. The universal key, the one trigger that almost every seed responds to. Life paused becomes life active, all through molecules so simple we barely think about them. When water activates a seed, it unlocks something else. Food. Every seed packs a lunch for the baby plant, and humans figured out we could eat that lunch instead. Seeds are energy dense by necessity. A sprouting plant needs fuel to push through soil and reach sunlight. Until it gets leaves, it can't make its own food. So the seed stores everything needed. Proteins for building cells, fats for concentrated energy, carbohydrates for quick fuel, all compressed into the smallest possible package. This makes seeds some of the most nutritious foods on Earth. When you eat rice, you're consuming the energy a rice plant stored for its offspring. When you eat a walnut, you're taking calories meant to grow a tree. Seeds don't mind. They can't. They're just following genetic programming to pack maximum nutrition into minimum space. We're just intercepting that nutrition. Most human calories come from seeds: wheat, rice, corn. Add beans, and you've covered the primary protein source for billions of people. These aren't random choices. Seeds naturally contain exactly what humans need: complete proteins, essential fats, complex carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals. Everything a growing plant needs is also what a growing human needs. Same building blocks, different destination. The concentration is remarkable. 1 cup of sunflower seeds contains 800 calories. The same volume of lettuce has maybe 20. Seeds pack energy because they have to. A plant can't make a seed the size of a watermelon for every offspring. Resources are limited, so evolution favored seeds that stored more energy in less space. The result is food so dense that humans can survive on relatively small quantities. Ancient humans recognized this. We didn't understand nutrition science, but we understood results. Eat seeds and you stay full longer. Seeds store well. They don't rot quickly like fruit or meat. You can save them for months. Plant some, eat the rest. This dual purpose made seeds the foundation of human survival. Different seeds store energy differently. Nuts pack mostly fats. That's why they're oily. Grains store mostly carbohydrates as starch. Legumes balance proteins and carbs. Each strategy reflects what the baby plant needs. Nut trees grow slowly and need sustained energy. Grains grow fast and need quick fuel. Legumes fix nitrogen from air and need different chemistry. We benefit from all these strategies because we eat all these seeds. Cooking unlocks even more nutrition. Raw beans are hard and somewhat toxic. Cooking breaks down the toxins and softens the seed coat. Suddenly, the nutrition is accessible. Bread is just seeds ground up and heated. The heat destroys enzyme inhibitors that would otherwise prevent digestion. Humans learn to process seeds in ways that maximize what we can extract from them. Seeds meant this food for their children, not for us. But plants make thousands of seeds, millions in some cases. They expect losses. They plan for most seeds to fail. Animals eating some seeds is acceptable as long as enough survive. We just became really good at eating seeds. We cultivated the plants that made the best seeds, saved those seeds, planted them, made more. Now, entire agricultural systems exist around seed production. Every harvest is humans intercepting baby food. Every grain silo is stored nutrition meant for future plants. We've built civilizations on this theft, and the plants don't suffer. We replant enough seeds to ensure they continue. We've become partners in their reproduction, even as we consume most of what they produce. Both species benefit. Seeds feed us. We spread them. The arrangement works. And it all started because seeds pack more nutrition per ounce than almost any other food source on Earth. Seeds store energy and information, but they also sense things we can't. Forces invisible to us. Magnetism, Earth's magnetic field. Seeds respond to it in ways scientists are still trying to understand. Certain seeds align themselves with magnetic fields when germinating. Put them in soil and they orient in specific directions. Not randomly, deliberately. Studies show some crops germinate better when planted facing particular compass directions. Farmers have known this for generations without understanding why. They just noticed patterns. North-south rows sometimes produce better yields than east-west. The seeds are doing something we can barely detect. The mechanism isn't fully clear. Some researchers think tiny iron crystals inside seeds act like compasses. These microscopic particles align with Earth's magnetic field. The seed might use this information to orient itself. Which way is north? Which way water flows? Which direction gets the most sun? It's additional data on top of gravity and light. Other scientists think magnetism helps roots know which way to grow when other signals conflict. Gravity usually tells roots to go down, but what if the seed is on a slope? What if it's in a crack between rocks? Magnetic orientation might provide backup navigation, a secondary system that activates when primary systems give confusing signals. Birds use magnetism to navigate during migration. Sea turtles use it to find beaches. Bacteria align with magnetic fields. Seeds using the same force makes sense. They need to know where they are and where they're going. Any information helps, and Earth's magnetic field is constant, reliable, always present. It's a reference point that doesn't change with weather or season. Some experiments show seeds grown in shielded environments, blocked from magnetic fields, develop differently. Their roots grow more randomly. Their shoots show less consistent orientation. Without the magnetic reference, something about their growth becomes less organized. Not catastrophically. The plants still grow, but the precision decreases slightly, as if they lost one sense and are compensating with the others. This might explain why certain planting traditions work. Indigenous farmers in various cultures have specific rules about when and how to plant. Some of these rules align with magnetic events, solar storms, seasonal variations in Earth's magnetic field strength. Modern science dismissed these practices as superstition. But maybe the farmers were observing real effects. Seeds responding to forces we didn't have instruments to measure until recently. The field strength matters too. Weak magnetic fields seem to help some seeds germinate faster. Strong artificial fields can slow or stop germination. There's an optimal range. Seeds evolved under Earth's natural magnetic field strength. They're calibrated to it. Change the field too much, and you disrupt their internal systems. This sensitivity to magnetism adds another layer to seed intelligence. They're not just measuring light, temperature, moisture, and gravity. They're also reading magnetic fields, processing that information somehow, using it to make better decisions about when and how to grow. All without neurons, all without consciousness. Just molecules responding to forces, creating behavior that looks purposeful. We're only beginning to understand this. Magnetic sensing in seeds is relatively new research. Most studies focus on more obvious systems: light detection, water response. But magnetism is there. Seeds feel it, react to it, use it. They're tuned to the planet in ways we're still discovering. Every seed is a tiny biological instrument reading Earth's invisible forces, navigating through soil using senses we barely comprehend. They know things about their environment that we need machines to detect. Seeds sense their environment, but they don't all sense it the same way. Even seeds from the same plant can be different. Siblings with different traits. This variation is strategy, not accident. Open a pea pod and you'll find several seeds. They look identical, but plant them and you'll notice differences. Some sprout in 3 days, others take a week. Some grow tall quickly, others stay short longer. Some handle cold better, others prefer warmth. They came from the same pod, same parent plant, same moment of pollination. Yet they're different. This happens because plants hedge their bets. If all seeds were identical, they'd all succeed in the same conditions and all fail in the same conditions. One unexpected frost could wipe out an entire generation. One drought could end the line. But if seeds vary, if some are slightly different from others, then changing conditions won't kill all of them. Some will survive. The differences are subtle, not massive mutations. Small variations in germination timing, slightly different temperature preferences, varying drought tolerance, minor differences in disease resistance. Each seed is a variation on the parent plant's theme. Most variations make little difference. But when environment changes, suddenly one variation matters enormously. This is why seed saving works for farmers. Plant many seeds. See which ones do best in your specific soil, climate, and conditions. Save seeds from those plants. Next generation, more seeds will have those successful traits. Over time, you develop varieties suited to your exact location. The variation between seeds makes this possible. Without it, you just get copies of the original, with no room for adaptation. Wild plants use this strategy constantly. A forest fire sweeps through. Most seeds of one species die, but a few had slightly thicker coats that protected them better. Those survive, make more seeds. The next generation has more thick-coated seeds. The species adapted not through planning, but through variation and selection. Some seeds happen to have the right trait at the right time. Even germination timing varies strategically. Not all acorns from one oak sprout the same spring. Some sprout immediately. Others wait a year. A few wait even longer. If spring comes early, but frost returns, the immediate sprouters die. The late sprouters survive. If spring is normal, the early sprouters get a head start. Both strategies work under different conditions. By varying the timing, the oak ensures some offspring succeed, regardless of weather patterns. This variation extends to everything: root depth, leaf size, growth speed, flowering time. Every trait shows some range within a single plant's seeds. The range is usually small, but over thousands of seeds and hundreds of generations, small variations drive major adaptations. Humans are the same. Siblings share parents, but differ in height, build, temperament, abilities. Some differences come from environment, but seeds grown in identical lab conditions still vary. The variation is built in. Genetic shuffling during reproduction creates diversity. Each seed gets a slightly different combination of genes. Most combinations work fine. Some work better in certain conditions. This biological lottery continues everywhere, constantly. Every seed is a unique experiment. Most experiments succeed adequately. A few fail, a few excel. The ones that excel in current conditions produce more seeds. Those seeds carry the successful variations forward, but they also introduce new variations. The process never stops. Seeds using diversity as insurance, making sure that whatever happens next, some of them will be ready for it. Different, not as a flaw, but as a fundamental survival strategy. All those different seeds, doing different things, create something unexpected. Sound. Growing seeds make noise. Not loud, but measurable. As cells expand and seed coats crack, they produce tiny acoustic emissions. Clicks and pops at frequencies too high for human ears. Scientists discovered this by accident. They were studying seed viability and placed sensitive microphones near germinating seeds. The equipment picked up patterns, rhythmic pulses, not random static, but organized sounds. The seeds were singing, not intentionally, just as a side effect of growth. But the sounds were there, consistent, measurable. As a seed absorbs water, cells swell. This creates pressure inside the seed coat. Eventually, the coat cracks. That crack releases energy as sound, tiny but real. The root pushing through creates friction, more sound. Cells dividing and expanding make microscopic pops as walls stretch and break and reform. Every physical change in the seed produces acoustic signatures. The frequency varies by species. Bean seeds sound different from corn seeds. Wheat makes different patterns than rice. Each type of seed has its own acoustic fingerprint. Scientists can now identify seed species by their sounds alone. Like birdsong, but for plants. A symphony of germination happening everywhere, all the time, just beyond human hearing. This discovery led to practical applications. Farmers can test seed viability without destroying the seed. Put sensitive equipment near a seed batch. Listen. If you hear the characteristic sounds of cellular activity, the seeds are alive. If there's silence, they're dead or dormant. This lets you test seeds before planting. No more wasting time and resources on dead seed lots. The sounds also indicate germination success. Healthy seeds make strong, regular acoustic patterns. Stressed or damaged seeds make irregular sounds or weaker signals. You can actually hear the difference between a seed that will thrive and one that will struggle. It's quality control through listening. But there's something deeper here. Growing seeds create a soundscape. In a field being irrigated, thousands of seeds respond to water simultaneously. They all start their acoustic activity within hours of each other. If you had the right equipment, you could hear fields waking up. A chorus of germination. Life announcing itself in frequencies we never knew existed. Forest floors do this too. After rain, dormant seeds activate, each one contributing its tiny sounds to a collective noise. Birds can't hear it. Insects can't hear it. But it's there, the sound of potential becoming actual. Seeds transforming from waiting to growing, and every transformation makes its own small music. Some researchers think plants might use these sounds. Maybe seeds can detect acoustic signals from neighboring seeds. Maybe germination timing is partly coordinated through sound. It's speculation right now. But if seeds can sense magnetism and gravity and light and chemistry, why not sound? They're already making it. Using it would be just another sensor in their collection. The sounds fade as germination completes. Once the plant establishes itself, the dramatic cellular changes slow down. Growth continues, but becomes quieter. The acoustic emissions decrease. Eventually, they stop. The seed has become a plant. The transition is over. But for those first days after water triggers germination, every seed is a tiny instrument, playing notes we can't hear, creating music from the simple act of coming alive. A hidden concert happening in soil everywhere. Life's soundtrack, quiet, constant, beautiful in its way. Seeds announcing their transformation to a world that mostly can't hear them. Those sounds happen in established soil, but seeds also make them in places with no soil at all. On brand new islands, volcanic rock still warm from eruption. No plants, no animals, just stone and ash. The first living things to arrive are seeds. A volcano erupts underwater. Over months or years, it builds up until it breaks the ocean surface. A new island appears. Bare rock, completely sterile. Nothing lives there, but it won't stay that way. Within months, seeds arrive, carried by wind, floating on ocean currents, stuck to bird feathers. They land on rock that's never held life before. Most die immediately. Rock is hostile. No moisture retention, no nutrients, extreme temperature swings. But seeds are patient. They wait. Rain comes. Water pools in tiny cracks. A few seeds in those cracks get enough moisture to germinate. They send roots into crevices. Those roots produce weak acids that slowly break down rock. Tiny amounts of mineral nutrients dissolve. The plant survives. When that first plant dies, its body becomes the island's first organic matter. The first soil. Other seeds land nearby. Now there's a tiny bit of material that holds water better than bare rock. More plants establish. Each generation makes survival easier for the next. Roots break more rock. Dead plants add more organic material. What was pure stone slowly becomes soil. This process takes decades. But seeds are in no hurry. Pioneer species like grasses and small herbs arrive first. They're tough. They can handle the harsh conditions. They grow, spread, create more soil. Eventually, shrubs arrive. Their seeds need more soil depth. The pioneer plants provided that. The shrubs grow larger, create more organic matter, more soil. After a century, the island might have enough soil for trees. Tree seeds arrive. They germinate in soil that didn't exist. When the island formed, those trees grow tall, provide shade, drop leaves, create even more soil. Birds start nesting. They bring seeds from other islands. Seeds of species that need established forests to survive. The diversity increases. Within a few centuries, an island that started as bare volcanic rock can have complex forests, dozens of plant species, animals, insects, entire ecosystems, all because seeds kept arriving, kept trying. Most failed, but enough succeeded to transform stone into life. Hawaii formed this way. So did the Galapagos. Iceland. Every volcanic island on Earth went through this process. Seeds arrived before anything else. They were the pioneers, the first colonizers. They created the conditions that allowed everything else to follow. This happens on smaller scales too. A landslide exposes bare rock on a mountainside. Seeds colonize it. A glacier retreats, leaving scraped stone behind. Seeds arrive within years. Abandoned buildings gradually get covered in plants. Seeds in cracks. Roots breaking concrete. Life reclaiming constructed spaces. Wherever bare substrate exists, seeds find it and begin the slow process of transformation. They don't plan this. Each seed is just trying to survive. but collectively, they terraform. They change landscapes from lifeless to living, from mineral to organic, from dead to dynamic. Seeds are Earth's biological pioneers, the advanced scouts, the first wave. They go where nothing else can survive and make it survivable for others. Every forest started this way, every grassland, every ecosystem. Somewhere in the past, seeds arrived in a harsh place and made it less harsh, generation after generation. Building soil, creating conditions, transforming the possible. Seeds don't just grow plants, they create worlds. Seeds create new worlds, but they also preserve old ones. Humans finally understood this. Deep inside a mountain in Norway, we built our own seed bank, the Svalbard Global Seed Vault, a backup of backups, insurance against every disaster we can imagine. The vault sits on an island in the Arctic. Frozen ground, remote location, thick rock walls. Inside, over 1 million seed samples from almost every country on Earth. Seeds from crops we eat now, seeds from varieties we stopped growing decades ago, seeds from wild relatives of domesticated plants. All frozen, all waiting. The temperature inside stays at -18 degrees Celsius. This slows seed aging dramatically. Seeds that might last decades at room temperature can last centuries when frozen. Some estimates suggest certain seeds in the vault could remain viable for thousands of years. We built a time capsule, not for messages or artifacts, but for living potential, for the ability to grow food. This matters because seeds are fragile in some ways. War destroys seed banks. Afghanistan lost its national seed collection during conflict. Syria's seed bank was damaged. Iraq's vanished. Regional disasters wipe out local varieties. A flood, a fire, political collapse. When local seed banks fail, entire genetic lineages can disappear. Crops that farmers developed over centuries, gone. Svalbard protects against this. Every country can deposit duplicate samples. If their national collection is destroyed, they can retrieve seeds from Norway and start over. It's happened. Syria withdrew seeds from Svalbard during their civil war, used them to restart breeding programs in Lebanon. The backup worked exactly as designed. But the vault does more than protect against human disasters. It hedges against climate change. Crop varieties that work now might fail in future climates. But somewhere in the vault are seeds of varieties that tolerate heat, drought, floods, or cold better. Maybe we'll need them. Maybe not. But having them available means we have options. The collection includes wild plants too, the ancestors of our crops. These wild varieties have genes we bred out. Genes for disease resistance we didn't need when we had pesticides. Genes for drought tolerance we didn't need when we had irrigation. But those genes still exist in wild populations. We're saving them because we might need them later. Climate changes, diseases evolve, conditions shift. Wild genetics give us raw material for breeding new varieties. This is humans doing what seeds have always done. Waiting, preserving, holding potential for uncertain futures. We learned from the seeds themselves. They showed us how to survive across time. Store what you have. Protect it. Wait. When conditions change, having stored material means you can adapt. The vault isn't perfect. It requires maintenance. Power for cooling systems, security, political stability. If civilization collapses completely, the vault fails. But for scenarios short of total collapse, it works. It's our version of the underground seed banks nature creates. Except ours is deliberate, organized, global. We finally understand what seeds have always known. The future is uncertain. But if you can wait, if you can preserve, if you can hold potential through difficult times, eventually conditions improve. And when they do, those who saved seeds can plant them, can eat, can survive, can rebuild. Svalbard represents humanity taking the long view, planning for disasters we hope never come, protecting resources we might not need for generations. It's us finally thinking like seeds, patient, prepared, willing to wait centuries if necessary. Because seeds taught us that patience isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Seeds taught us patience because they embody it. Every seed is a promise, not a guarantee, but a possibility. Plant it, and maybe something grows, maybe nothing. Seeds don't promise success, they promise a chance. That's all life ever offers, a chance. Some seeds meet their moment. The right soil, the right rain, the right temperature. Everything aligns and they bloom. They make flowers, produce new seeds. The cycle continues. Other seeds wait forever and never sprout. They sit in soil through seasons and years. Conditions never quite right. Potential never realized. That's okay. The seed fulfilled its purpose by existing, by being ready, by holding the possibility. We carry our own seeds, not literal ones, but potential. Things we could become, skills we could learn, paths we could take. Like seeds, we wait for the right conditions. Sometimes they come quickly. Sometimes we wait years. Some possibilities never happen. We move on to other things. That's normal. That's how seeds work too. The difference is seeds don't worry. They don't stress about waiting. They don't feel like failures when they don't sprout. They just exist, patient, ready, holding their potential without anxiety. We could learn from that. Being ready is enough. Having potential matters, even if it never becomes actual. The possibility has value. Think about what seeds survive: fire, flood, centuries underground, trips across oceans, passage through digestive systems. They endure conditions that would destroy most living things. And they do it by waiting, by being tough enough to last until conditions improve. We face our own fires, our own droughts, our own harsh conditions. Seeds show us that survival sometimes means just holding on, staying viable, waiting for better circumstances. When those circumstances arrive, seeds don't hesitate. They don't second guess. Water comes and they grow. No doubt, no fear, just action. The waiting ends and growth begins. Immediate, total, committed. We overthink our moments. Seeds don't. They waited for this. When it arrives, they move. Every forest started as scattered seeds. Every field of wheat began with saved grain. Every fruit tree grew from a pit someone planted, or a seed a bird dropped. The biggest things come from the smallest beginnings. Seeds prove this constantly. A sequoia weighing tons began as something lighter than a snowflake. Time and conditions turned potential into reality. But it started small, patient, waiting. So, while you rest tonight, while your thoughts settle and your breathing slows, remember the seeds. Silent beneath soil, patient in darkness, holding futures nobody can see yet. They're not in a hurry. They know their moment will come, or it won't. Either way, they exist, ready, waiting, content in their small shells with their quiet potential. You're like them in more ways than you know, carrying possibilities, waiting for moments. Some will come, some won't. That's life. But being ready matters. Staying patient has value. And when your conditions align, when your moment arrives, you'll know, you'll feel it. And like seeds responding to rain, you'll grow. If tonight's journey brought you peace, consider liking and subscribing so you don't miss tomorrow's exploration. We'll be here, ready to wander through another corner of science together. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from. It's beautiful knowing we share these quiet moments across the world. For now, let your mind rest like seeds in soil, quiet, patient, ready for whatever tomorrow brings. Sleep well.